So I showed up for grad school here at Bob Jones, and I had not gone to undergrad here, and I really didn't know much about it at all. So every day I was meeting a lot of new people. But Kim was friends with Jill Workman, a friend of mine, because we taught together as graduate assistants. And I mean, I noticed her the very second. I mean, the very second I saw her, I was very attracted to her and interested in her. She was so
Sort
cute.
of embarrassing.
Yes.
Are you embarrassed?
I'm not embarrassed. No, and so she said, so, it's just like, she was always with Jill. I mean, they were just inseparable.
Yeah, in a not good way,
And
probably.
and so they were sort of thick as thieves, as they say, and always
got in a lot of
always into
trouble.
something.
Yeah.
And so got to meet her very soon and really was smitten with her from the very first weeks that I knew her.
Yeah.
She
he
was
says.
probably looking for an older person because she didn't get smitten with me till much later.
It was much later, probably 6 years, 7 years. So I guess he was a GA, a speech GA. I was in college. I'm much younger. And I saw him around. He was in a lot of Vespers and things, programs and things. And he was friends with a lot of my friends. I had seemed to have a lot of speech GA friends. And so he was fun. He was cute. He was interesting. I noticed him. But we were friends. We went to auctions. We went out to eat. We just had very similar interests. I just was not interested in anything more than a friendship, though. So I guess in the dining common, we saw each other. All the GAs and faculty and staff used to eat up in the Red Room, which kids may not know where that is, but it's on the far end of the dining common. There's a little dining area where the faculty used to all eat there. And so we would eat together.
And her folks were on faculty, so...
Yeah, so mostly he would join my parents, and I would show up, and he would be there, telling stories and yucking it up with my parents. And so I would, sit down, and so we got to know each other. But...
They were a very literary family, and I really had not grown up in a very literary family. So for me, it was just lots of interesting conversation about authors and literature. I lived in a GA apartment, and my birthday's September 21st, and so it had to be sometime early
Notice
September.
How he slipped that in there?
Early September that I met, or late August that I met Kim, because on my birthday that year, at midnight, they burst into the apartment. There's this big commotion, so I'm, staggering out, and they brought me a birthday present that night. So I don't know if that was Jill or Kim or, she said she really didn't like me, that way for 7 years, but I'm not sure. She was giving me gifts very early on.
It was more about the spectacle and the shock value of doing that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Than it was really about you. I'm sorry.
None taken.
Tell about the dress.
Oh, so she was going to go to Australia for a summer as a missions, just on her own. She just found a family and helped them nanny and teach that summer. And so I, interested in costuming or whatever, so I decided to make her a camouflage dress. And so
You thought I needed that to wear in the outback.
And I was home, and my grandmother's the one who taught me how to my way around a sewing machine. So she was there, and she even though she passed away before we even got romantically involved. She said
she knew
she's the one you're going to marry, because a guy doesn't make a dress for a girl unless he's going to marry her.
So, and I still have it. I still have the dress. He sewed a Ralph Lauren label in the back of it. Do you remember?
Yeah.
He said I had to take a picture of myself in Australia wearing the dress. So I did, and I sent it to him.
Haven't thought about that in a long time.
Yep. It was later. I fell in love with him, but that was just immediate.
The scales fell off.
The scales fell off. He knocked at my door. I turned around. Or no, he turned around.
Yeah.
And I saw him, looked in his blue eyes, first time I noticed they were blue, and I fell in love immediately. Of course, I thought, oh no, he is not that, nobody's that patient.
That was 7 years later after she had finished undergrad. I'd finished grad school. I'd gone away to grad school in Oklahoma. She had gone to teach in Pennsylvania. So it was a long journey.
Yes. But he kept up with me that whole time. He would write little letters. He'd send me presents. And so he kept getting his name out there. But it took me a while to come around.
Yes.
Even though my parents had loved him for years.
So that was actually on her birthday. And then in April, and then that summer, I went on a drama team, took 4 other guys out on a drama team for the summer. And so I always said that my best way to cultivate a relationship was to start it and then go out of town for 3 months. So I got back in August, and I
whisked him away to Vermont.
Yeah, we went on a trip to a friend of hers' house and their parents' house, and then when we came back, started school, and really sort of knew even in April and May that
as soon as I made up my mind, it was pretty much a foregone conclusion.
Yes, and so I had been all in for 7 years, so I didn't need any convincing. And then we got engaged.
And I knew it too the whole time. I knew that he liked me, and I don't know. That was not so great.
And I loved her parents. I loved her family. I always said her mom and dad probably fell in love with me before she did.
Definitely.
She did. So, but she came around, and then we got engaged in December of that year, and then
in the same exact place on the same day that his parents had gotten engaged, Christmas Eve, on the side of the road, headed to the same Christmas party that they had been, obviously
34 years later. So,
but, yeah.
Yeah, and then we got married in May after I had just finished my very first major Classic Players production. I had directed and designed
2 weeks.
The Winter's Tale, and she was finishing grad school. She had come back to Greenville for grad school, and so just 2 weeks after that graduation day, we got married, and that was 27
We'll be 27 in May.
Years ago.
Yep.
This May.
And, people hear that story and think, wow, it was so long. You waited so long. But we really can see God's hand in that, because we both did things while we were away in those intervening years. And we both had experiences. I taught, I got a master's degree. He did his design work, acting work. And then we came back and got together. So we both feel like we were different people. And
we realized that we probably wouldn't have had some of those experiences that prepared us if we had, gotten married right out of college. So.
Yeah. So that's it.